Still waiting for me. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I think it's working.
Yay, I think it's working.
Exactly right.
Yes, it's working, and I think I'm on time as well. There we go. Okay, we are live. I hope you can hear me. I'm sorry, I just had some technical difficulties again. And yay, we have people here. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Nikki. Good morning. Thank you for staying with me. I started a bit early because I knew that I would have problems, which I did. But now I'm here. Look, it's 9 o'clock and I am perfectly on time. Hi, Donna. Hi, Stacy. Can you hear me okay? Good. Thank you. Hi, Christy. Hi, Rita from Portugal. Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning. Okay, is it all good? All right, my husband has given me the okay. He always helps me with these things. Hello from the Netherlands. Good morning. Oh, and good evening in Sweden, of course. So it's not morning for everybody. There's my husband in the background. You can see him. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you today. So excited. I want to devote this chat solely to etiquette questions. You know, it's one of my favorite subjects. And I have a lot of questions that people have submitted who aren't going to be able to make the live stream. Hello, hi, I'm looking at where everybody's from. Hello from New Zealand, Virginia, Brazil, Scotland. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, as I know you're at different time zones. So today I really want to discuss your pressing etiquette issues. What is going on in your life? Do you have any, anything that you just want to discuss? I'm not saying that I know everything about this topic. I just like to talk about it. And I think what's really nice is that in the chat section, we can all give our opinions on everything. So I just like to, show you where I'm coming from with a lot of these things. And, feel free to chime in the chat section as well. And let us know what you think about all of these topics, because I just love talking about etiquette. Good morning. Hi, Claudia from Mexico. Okay, so we already are starting to receive etiquette questions in the chat section, and I'm going to get to those too. And I also have a long list of questions here, and I want to try to get to everything because I must end no later than 10 a.m. because my daughter has a piano festival today that I'm taking her to. She's competing in it, so I've got to do that. Okay, so I'm going to, I'm still new at this, so I'm going to be looking at your comments, and I'm going to be reading the ones that I have that were submitted to me and everything. So let's get started. I'm going to take one from the chat section. And we have here, how do you decline an invitation to an event that you're not interested in going to? So, of course, it's easier to do that if you don't know the person that well. Just, decline. And there's so many different ways that you're invited these days. Normally, people these days are doing evites. So it's just very easy to hit no and then just write, I'm so sorry, I can't make it. And you can, of course, do that in other ways. So, but if it's a close friend who's inviting you to something that you're not interested in going to, you don't need to make an excuse. You don't need to lie. You just need to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it, and that's it. That's all you have to say. But I know that's hard. I actually struggle with that too. Yes, declining events. Hi, everybody. I'm looking at where you're from. How do you end a super long phone call politely? I just wait for a break in the conversation and say, all right, well, and then just say what you need to do and say it was lovely to talk to you. Okay, so Ali writes, after the last election, a big portion of my family stopped speaking to me. What is the chic way to behave when I run into them? Okay, this is such a good question. And actually, it brings up something that I wanted to bring up from the very beginning. Which is, I feel like we are living in a climate right now where people are afraid to speak their minds. They're afraid to give their opinions. They are afraid to speak their truth for fear that it will cause such a rift in relationships for people who don't agree. And Ali's comment is I'm sorry I'm laughing, but it is so ridiculous, isn't it? That family members wouldn't talk to you over your opinion on an election. I mean, that is just crazy to me. So obviously the election that we had was extremely polarizing. And so yes, I've heard about a lot of family members and friends and everything who have just, you know, sort of parted ways. They can't talk to each other anymore because of their differing beliefs. And I think it's sad. So in that situation, honestly, what I would do is, you know, obviously stick to your beliefs, and you don't need to talk politics when you see those people, and just be polite and kind to them. If they can't return that to you, that's their problem, right? So much of etiquette is just keeping our side of the street clean, right? And it's just about, you can't control how other people act. You can't control how other people react to you. So you just keep your side of the street clean, be nice and polite and courteous, and they just need to deal with that. If they have anger towards you or anything, they just need to deal with it. And, you know, it'll blow over. You know, there's going to be new presidents and new policies, new things all going forward in years and decades to come. And it's so silly to have an argument over something like that, don't you think? Okay. There's so many comments here on the chat that I'm worried I'm going to miss so many of them. Really quickly, I'm going to take from the list of questions that I've been submitted already. And let's see, what's a good one here? Okay, so I had one on Instagram that said, Facebook etiquette is my problem. I really want Facebook to be for family and friends that are out of the area, but I have people all the time requesting to friend me. How can I say no without hurting anyone's feelings? So Facebook etiquette could probably use a whole video of its own, because social media etiquette is a new territory, isn't it? So maybe I should do a whole video on that. And I actually have done a Facebook etiquette video, which if after the fact, I can find that and I can link it below. But basically, if you want Facebook to only be for close family and friends, then you can just accept those people. That's what I would say. And then I have no trouble. I constantly get friend requests from people that I barely know, or I don't even know they're friends of friends, and I just always decline them. I have no trouble doing that. If that bothers you, Facebook has different settings where you can accept them if you don't want to hurt their feelings, and just hide their posts. And then everything that you post, you can have only a certain group of people see. So your friends and family, for example. But I know it's such a strange, tricky situation. I'd love to hear what people say in the comments section too. Wow, we have so many questions. This is so great. Okay. Okay, so Claudia Cruz writes, how do you deal with the constant just checking my phone habit from your friends when hanging out? I find it very disrespectful. Yeah, so I do too. I think that, you know, we're just living in a day where we are so addicted to our phones. And I'm not going to lie, I probably have an addiction to my phone, but I really try to make a conscious effort when I'm with people to not look down at it. And again, so much of etiquette is just keeping your side of the street clean. You can't really call someone else out on it. You know, you could if it's hurting your feelings, I would say. But it's like leading by example. So if you're with somebody and you just want their full attention, you can just be with them, you know, be still, be present, give them eye contact, give them your full contact. And if they're on their phone all the time, well, maybe they'll notice, hey, you're not doing that too, you know? So it's so much about that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to scroll back here because I have so many comments. Let's see. Okay, Sarah writes, how do you avoid going to something with friends that is out of your financial comfort zone? Do you know that I just read an article about a woman who went bankrupt because she went to too many weddings and she was a bridesmaid too many times, and weddings are getting so crazy and expensive that she spent a crazy amount of money on this. So what you have to do, and again, I talk about this actually in the debt-free course, is that you have to, have a budget. And if the event that your friends are planning is in your budget, then you can go. And if it's not, you could just be honest with them and say, this is not in my budget right now. I'm sorry, I can't partake. And it's hard to not partake in fun things when other people are doing them. But, our social calendars are so full that we would just, drain our finances from these events. Just like that woman who, if I could find that article, I will link it after the fact, but I think she lost her home or something because she went on so many bachelorette weekends and destination weddings and things like that, which is just crazy to me. Okay, I'm gonna go pull from the comments here from Instagram as well. Okay, so Julie writes, how do you approach children and their parents about your house rules when they visit? Some families approach rules differently, not playing in the bedrooms, not dumping out all the toys, not carrying food and drinks around the house, etc. Okay, so that's a good question. And I would say if you are having a play date at your house, you're having other people over and they have children, you are in control of your domain. This is your space. And so what I would do is, think, okay, where are the rooms that they're going to be able to play in? Or are they going to only be outside? Are they going to be, in the playroom, whatever it is? And so fix that room and prepare it for the kids. So when they come over, say, all right, here we go. Here's all the games. You can play in the playroom or you can go outside. If, some kids wander upstairs and go into your master bedroom, then yes, of course, you say, we're just going to be staying in the playroom. But I find that if you just define that and you take control of the situation, because it's your house, you're the hostess, that you're not going to run into these problems. So she said she had a second part to her question where she said, we have a no running upstairs rule. Our children were running behind other children in someone else's house. I reminded our children not to run and then realized it was not a rule in that family's home. And then I felt bad for correcting my children when the other children were told to follow my rule when we were at their home. Okay, so I think that if you have a rule with your children that they can't run in your house, it's perfectly acceptable for you to tell them you can't run in other people's houses, even if the other kids are doing it too. So, because then it gets confusing. And I think that any parent would appreciate that rule because nobody really wants kids running around the house, especially a lot of kids. So, you could say you can run outside or whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to take a question from the chat here. Okay, Laura says, how do you respond when someone asks you for a loan? Well, the first thing that you must remember when someone asks you for a loan is if you are willing to give them the loan, you have to be okay with them never paying it back, because that so often is the case, isn't it? And I hear that all the time from people. And so if you are willing to just part with that money and you want to help that person, then do it. But if you aren't, don't do it, because they might not pay you back and it might cause awkwardness in your relationship and everything. So you have to be willing to, I think, what do you all think? Let us know in the chat section. You have to be willing to just part with it and not get it back. I think that maybe has happened to a lot of people, myself included. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Hi everybody, I love you telling me where you're from. Okay. Okay, Sarah writes, how do you deal with coworkers who are rude to you for dressing nice for work and in general? I did a video on this a few years ago about, what was it called? it was called Dressing Well, Dealing with Attention, or something like that. Looking presentable and dealing with attention. And what you're going to find in our society today that is so casual, right, where everybody seems to be casual, even in the workplace, is that when you differentiate yourself from the crowd and you choose to look presentable, and that's it. It doesn't even have to be something fancy, right? But you're just not in your pajamas in public, right? People will make fun of you. Oh, where are you going? You get all of this unwanted attention, especially for an introvert. That could be really annoying, right? But you just have to ignore it and take it as a compliment that they're telling you that you look nice, you know. But when you dress presentably, sometimes you make other people uncomfortable, and that's not your problem. That's their problem. So I would just continue, like, never let your standards fall because society's standards have fallen. Do you know what I mean? And it's hard when you're surrounded by people and everyone's in their yoga pants. You know, I love my yoga pants. No, I'm kidding. I don't love the yoga pants. But, you know, when everybody is in them and you're not, you're wearing a dress, it's just a regular day, you don't have anything going on. That's fine. Just it might feel uncomfortable, but you just keep on. Don't stop, because honestly, you're the only thread holding the society together as far as looking presentable goes, in my opinion. Okay. I'm going to keep looking here. This is a good one from Alana. What's the appropriate way to get people to leave your house when they've overstayed their welcome, whether it be family or a neighbor or friends who just randomly stop by? This is funny because I think this happened to me during one of my pregnancies a long time ago. I was heavily pregnant and there were neighbors over, and and we had a party, and then the party ended and they were there for hours afterwards. They wouldn't leave. I ended up going to a room and laying down, and that hint wasn't taken. But the thing is that if you are concerned that this might happen, it's good from the beginning, just like with the children, when you're designating a room, you know, and saying this is going to be where you're going to play and everything. You can say to them, yes, at 9:30 tonight, you know, whatever it is that you need to do. And just say, or if you have an invitation, specify the start time and the end time. And then it's okay if they're not leaving at that time to then just say, thank you so much for coming, you know, and then move on with it. And people will get the hint. It's just normally they're just not thinking, you know, and it's nice. It's a compliment for you. They're having such a nice time. They don't want to leave. So that's a good way to look at it, I would say. Okay, so Diana wrote, I had to miss a lot of bachelorette party trips and destination weddings. I was in med school, but my friends were working and I couldn't afford to go to Vegas or the coast for a girls' trip like they could. And that's true. And you know what? You did the responsible thing, Diana, because of course we want to go to all of these things, but is it financially responsible? Hello? Okay, I have a cup of tea here. Okay, Mia Donnell writes, is vaping indoors appropriate? My coworker vapes next to me and no one else in the office seems to be bothered, but I think it's almost as bad as smoking indoors. I mean, vaping is such a new thing, isn't it? I don't like any of that stuff, and I would not like that. I think that if the etiquette there is if you do vape, that you should not do it indoors. I don't know. What do you think about that in the comment section below? This is a new thing, and I don't know. What is it? Can you smell it? Is it, can you tell that they're doing it? Is there any secondhand smoke? Let's see. I have people saying in there, I know a number of people who vape and they all smoke outside. But my youngest brother said he saw someone vape inside a college classroom. Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't think it's appropriate to do that inside either. Oh, you're welcome. Okay. Okay, so I'm just reading through your comments here. This is so fun. Thank you. And please chime in the comment section. I don't want to be the only voice here giving you my opinion. I just like talking about this stuff. So if you have an answer to one of these questions we're discussing, please write it down because I love to hear from all of you. Okay, Jane writes, how would you deal with someone who is needy of your time? Someone that gives a lot of attitude if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to them on weekends, like texting, etc. You know, I think that just eventually that type of person gets the hint if you cannot reciprocate, you know, all of the attention that they're giving you. And, you know, adult life is busy. And that's the thing. There's so many channels to all of this, isn't there? But I was thinking the other day, and I'm thinking about a series or a few videos that I want to do on hard work, to stem from that adulting video that I did that was so controversial last year. But we as adults have so much to do. There's always something to do, right? It's, you know, of course, if we're parents, parenting takes up so much of our lives. If you have a home, you need to look after your home. If you work, you know, you need to do that. And so our spare time is very valuable. So just as you just go through life and you don't have time for someone who's constantly needing things from you, I would just, you know, keep it polite, but just, you don't have to reply to every text message instantly. Do you know what I mean? You don't even need to reply to every text message. Sometimes you could get back to the person a few days later, you know, and then eventually that would get old for them and they would move on, I would say. Okay, everyone's chiming in on the vape, on the vape controversy. Alana said she loved the adulting video. Yeah, I did too. And I could not believe that so many people were angry about that video. I mean, really. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take a comment from Instagram. And so one person wrote, she says, I work with 15 women. Of course, with all that, she says, of course, with all that estrogen, personalities clash at times and petty arguments are to be had. So no matter what, I seem to always be a magnet for someone's frustration outlet. I try my best to stay out of situations and focus on my own tasks, but it seems impossible when people come to me to gossip or complain about someone else's behavior. How can I kindly tell my coworkers that I don't care to hear about their problems and to leave me alone? And then she also writes down that she has another coworker who overshares with her. Okay, overshare. Too much information, okay? So if you find yourself, and this could be at work, or it could be with, you know, the other moms at school, or it could be just your neighbors or whatever it is, if you find yourself, I think, in a situation where it's just a gossip and negativity magnet and just constantly, you know, draining people, airing and venting their frustrations, and it's just getting old. It's bringing you down. If you can, just politely excuse yourself from the conversation whenever it veers in that direction and go do something else. Because, you know, it is good to vent sometimes, you know, and it does feel good to vent. But when you're constantly surrounded by that, I think it's bad energy. And, you know, the pity parties, it's not good at the end of the day. What do you think about it in the chat section? I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I have one here from Casey who says, how do you gracefully deal with negative people? The ones who are always pessimistic, but they're friends or family, so you can't really sever the relationship. That's hard. You just have to love them and you have to be super positive around them. You know, that's what I do if that ever happens with me. But I find that the more negative someone is, the more peppy and positive and upbeat I want to be in contrast to that. And it's a drain, but that's just where they are at that moment. And hopefully they won't always be in that dark place, but just be there for them, be positive, be happy, be peppy. Okay. Okay, Adelina, what do you think of people who yawn without covering their mouth? It doesn't look chic to me at all. Okay, so that's definitely an etiquette faux pas. We should always cover our mouth when we yawn. Although, you know, it's funny, the other day I was in my home. I'm always yawning here because I'm so tired. And I got no sleep last night, by the way. The baby wanted to have a party at 3 a.m. So, but anyway, last night I caught myself. It's funny you say that. I'm sitting in the living room and I just was yawning and my mouth is just wide open. And so I was yawning even though I was by myself. So if you're concerned about it, you should practice even when you're by yourself, not doing it. And I should have done that too. But yeah, I do think it's rude. It is considered rude, I think, by most people to yawn with your mouth open. Nikki gave good advice there from Inspired by Nikki. She said, I would say the best way to resolve the issue is to go directly to that person. They realize that you aren't the one who they can come to about it. That's good. Okay. Everyone's saying vape outside. I agree. I don't understand vaping, but so everyone is saying that. Okay. This is a good one from Sarah. Do you have any tips for politely asking people to return things that you've lent them? Things like books or movies. I find it really awkward. Hopefully it's not like the loans and I can expect them back. You know, sadly, Sarah, this is funny because I've dealt with this before. It is like the loans. People, when you loan things to people, whether it's a book or anything else, most of the time they won't give it back to you, I find. So you have to be okay with parting with it if you're willing to give it back. I know, it's frustrating. I remember years ago, I'm talking over a decade ago, I like to listen to these CDs in my car about learning French because I just wanted to better my French. And I worked with somebody who was going to Paris, and so I lent them to her. And she had them for, I think, 6 months. And I really wanted them back because I missed them and I was in a groove. And I thought, you know, I guess I shouldn't have lent them to her if I wasn't able to get them back. And I don't think she ever gave them back to me. I did actually ask her for it a few times. I said, oh, how are the tapes going? Are you learning anything? And I think I even mentioned to her, yes, I'd love to get back into them. People don't take hints. So yes. Now we are all yawning, I'm sure Nikki says. Yes. Unfortunately, I think when you loan something to somebody, of course you should expect it back because that's the right thing to do and that's what you would do, but you probably won't get it back. I've lent out so many books, so many things, I've never gotten them back. Okay. Okay, someone says, yeah, she loses her poise at someone else's negativity in her family. Yes, poise, ladies. If you haven't read my book, Polish Your Poise with Madame Chic, it's so good for all of this stuff. Poise is just, it's that unspoken quality about you that sets you apart from other people. And it's hard because when you are surrounded by most people who don't share your values, don't share your, you know, just the way that you like life to be, you can lose it. When you are around people who are not poised, that's hard. And that's actually one of the questions that I got on Twitter from a lady who lives in Indonesia and she can't join the live stream. Okay, she said she would like me to answer this question. She said, how can I integrate gracefulness and cultivate an air of mystery among chatty and loud people around me? Sometimes I forget and I act like that too. That's such a good question. Hi, Yuki from Japan. Sorry, I'm all the way over, all over the place. But that is such a good question. And that's why there's so many wise sayings that say you are who your friends are, right? So when you are around other people and there's a group and there's like a herd mentality where if they're all acting a certain way, then you find yourself acting that way and you're thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? You know? So that's where poise comes in and that's where your convictions comes in. And that's hard because at that point you need to have a lot of self-control and strong convictions and just stick with it. So even if everyone around you is being loud and obnoxious and, you know, and it's not appropriate, let's say in that setting, you don't do it. You don't partake, right? What do you all think about this in the comment section? I love reading your comments here. This is so fun. And I think that the playback also plays the chats too. Okay. Sarah said that that's her lesson for lending things out. Lori wrote, my parents have had my movie for so long, they think it's theirs. That has happened to me too. I love my sister, but I lent her an album one time and she had it for so long, and she's my sister, so I was okay with saying, can I have that back now? She said, this is mine. I remember that. That was from so long ago, so that's really funny. Michelle writes, at work, it is the big difference between men and women. Women bring their home to work and men leave it at the door of work. That's very interesting observation about men and women. So I do think that women more often tend to talk about their personal life, even with strangers, than men would do. What do you think about that? I don't know, that's probably going to get a lot of people angry, but you know, there's nothing wrong with pointing out differences. Okay. I'm just reading your comments here. Okay. Oh, Jesse said, Jennifer, someone in my trial video this morning, which I didn't see. So I had a video before this where I couldn't see anything that you wrote. And they had a fun question. Do you have any humorous stories about conflicting etiquette between your husband and you being from different countries? Oh, that's funny. We don't really have that anymore, but I'm sure I wish he was here. I think he's actually listening to this. So Ben, if you know of a story to tell them. But yes, you know, my husband's from England and I'm from America, and there's a lot of stuff that we do that's different, and he's just very tolerant of me, basically. But I remember in the beginning of our marriage, there were a few things that I said, the way I phrased it, that's funny. It's not what they say. And there's a funny, actually quite embarrassing etiquette story that when I was visiting his family for the first time in England in their house, and they have a beautiful house. And, you know, I'm from California, and I just always assumed that the rest of the world has California weather, right? So I was wearing, I can't remember what I was wearing, but I was cold basically. And it was a chilly evening. And so the first thing I did when I got into their home was I took off my shoes. He probably won't remember any of this, but I think I took off my shoes, and then I felt awkward because nobody took off their shoes, which that is a comment down here. I don't know why I took off my shoes. I don't even have a no shoes in my own house policy. But I did. I took off my shoes. And then I felt awkward because then I was in their backyard without my shoes on. And then I was really cold. So I said, I'm going to go up to my room and put some pants on. And can all the English people chime in the chat section? But that pants in England means undergarments, doesn't it? So it was just a bit, you know, of course I had to announce that. I have so many faux pas. If you've read my Madame Chic books, you know I am not perfect. There are so many faux pas that I committed in that book. I just think it's funny. I like to learn from them. And so yes, so I did say that. That was quite embarrassing. Ben probably doesn't remember any of that, but I do because I was embarrassed. So really quickly, I wanted to go, so someone just wrote on Instagram about the etiquette of the no shoes in the house policy. And I want to hear what all of you have to say in the chat section about this, because this is something that I have heard so many different responses to this. Okay, so number one, do we have a no shoes in the house policy? No. Although for my children, we do. When we come to our home personally, just you know, me, my husband, and our 3 kids, I have the children take their shoes off before they come in the house. But I don't have guests take their shoes off when they come to the house. So I don't do that. Of course, yeah, Noel wrote pants in England is underpants, I know. But this is a cultural thing, because in Japan, for example, and I've traveled to Japan for my book work, you do not wear your shoes in the house in Japan. And it's a uniform thing, something that everybody does. You do not do it. So it's not awkward. But in America, it's like, you know, some houses have a no shoes policy, some don't. And I find that it's so prevalent these days that when I invite people over, I don't even say anything, but the first thing they say is, should I take my shoes off? And I say, no, 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 please leave them on, it's fine. So I don't feel comfortable asking people to take their shoes off. I'll just mop the floor after they leave if I'm worried about anything. What do you think about that though? So her question, I can't remember exactly how she worded it, but what is that policy? So that's our personal policy, is that we don't. Now I have read if you do require people to take their shoes off, that you should provide slippers for them. So what do you think about that? I would love, and that's what they do in Japan. So they have, because I was able to actually tour Japanese homes when I was there, which was really cool. And they showed me, they have the shoe closet. So as soon as you walk in the door, you put your shoes up, and then they give you a pair of slippers to put on. And that happened both times when I went into the Japanese homes that I was in. Yeah, so people, yeah, so some people saying in Canada, it's rude to not remove your shoes because you could track dirt in. So there are other countries, Canada, I think someone else said Sweden. Some houses in England have one. Now that's the thing. So for example, my husband's family, they don't have that policy. And I immediately removed my shoes, and then I felt so awkward. Nikki asked, did Madame Chic wear shoes in her home? Yes, they did not have, Madame Chic's home in Paris, they did not have a no shoes policy. None of the homes that I went to in Paris did. You just wore your shoes inside the house. So, yes. I'm reading all of your comments. I love this. Okay, so what are people saying? Mia says, I think when you live in a big city, it's more of a custom because the sidewalks can be so dirty. And I totally understand why. Ren says, in Sweden, all must take them off. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Sweden. People are saying Sweden. They're saying, Yasmin said pants. You mean trousers. Yes, I should have said trousers. We don't really say trousers, though, in America. We say pants. Sherry said no to shoe covers. Yes. Oh, so, you know, like when you tour a home, if you're looking at real estate property, you have to put those horrible blue shoe covers. I agree. No to those. That's too much. Do they? Yeah. So, it's your own house. Again, it's your house. It's your rules. But you must be clear with people about it before they arrive. And I think if people arrive at your house and they see a bunch of shoes by the front door, let's say you're having a party, they're going to realize that they can't wear their shoes. But I do think that you should provide them something, because it feels weird sometimes when you're walking around, especially in someone else's house, barefoot. Okay, so Sylvia says, I'm from Estonia and we have slippers for guests. There you go. This seems to be the correct answer. Okay. I'm going to take some more questions here. Jane says, the problem with slippers that people who supply them for guests is, what if a previous guest had a toe fungus? Oh dear. I mean, maybe you could buy the 99-cent ones at the 99-cent store, disposable, but then that's not very environmentally friendly. Okay. I'm going to go back here. I have so many questions here that I'm not getting to. Okay. Amy wrote, it's so hard dealing with cliques or groups, especially if you disagree with the major group consensus. I know. And the funny thing I find is that when I disagree with the group consensus, I just stay quiet, because if you voice your opinion, then they all jump on you, right? Can you tell me in the chat section, how are you feeling in this current climate we're in? Do you feel comfortable voicing your opinions about things? Or do you feel that you just stay silent to avoid the drama? Because people cannot handle someone with differing opinions these days. I'm really finding that. I mean, just if someone, everybody has strong opinions, right, on something. And I'm finding that if you have strong opinions, but the people who have strong opinions, they just can't even imagine what other people would not share their opinion. Do you see what I mean? Just going back to that thread. Okay. Ingrid, what do you do when you feel that you are losing your temper in stores, restaurants, or the like? Who is it with? Is it with your children, or is it with, why would you be losing your temper? Whenever you feel that you're losing your temper, just pause. That's always my advice. Pause, just pause, take a deep breath. Of course, I've lost my temper many times. But pause. Normally it's with your children. Like, let's say you have your children out in public and they're having an irrational tantrum in the middle of the store, and yes, you start to get really angry. You just have to, you got to pull in your poise at that point. And just pause and just try to get through it. I love reading what you guys are saying. Let's see. Okay, we have some trolls in the comment section. I'm just hiding them. Okay. Okay, so Casey writes, I generally shy away from voicing my opinions on hot topics. I find it's different than the norm. Others tend to get offended. Okay, I just need to, I need a moderator, I think, for this, because I have a, let's see, remove. There we go. Sorry, I have some trolls in the chat section here. Oh my gosh, there's so much here that I need to address. Yeah, really good comments here, I think. Nikki says, if someone asks me and I feel that they aren't asking just to argue but are really interested, then I feel good about sharing my opinion, but I don't care to have an argument or defend a position. That's how I feel too. I was talking with a friend about, we differed on a hot topic happening right now. And she said to me, you know, she stated her stance. And I said, yes, you know, and I don't agree. I disagree with that. And she's like, do you want to talk about it? I said, no, I don't. I just don't really want to. I'm not up for debate right now. You know, I don't feel like getting into that. Yeah, Tilly says, I usually stay out of controversial conversations. It's often not worth my emotional involvement just to share my opinion. Now, the other day, what happened? I posted a photo of the Duchess of Cambridge, who just gave birth to their third child. And whenever I post anything like that, there's always someone who's angry, right? So somebody was angry about that. And then I had some people say, "What, Jennifer, why don't you talk about, you know, the First Lady's style, or, you know, in past, present, future?" And I said, you know, I don't talk about American politicians because people can't handle it. It doesn't matter what side I'm talking about. If I'm talking about a Democratic First Lady, if I'm talking about a Republican First Lady, just even the mention, people get so angry, and I just don't feel like dealing with the hate, right? So it just depends on how I feel. Now, I broach a lot of hot topics, I would say, on the blog, and every time I do, I think, all right, here I go. Am I ready for it? Now, right now, I'm pregnant. I don't really feel like being attacked about things. You know what I mean? So you know, I go through seasons where I will be more brave, and I'll bring up a topic that I know I'm going to get just totally skewered for. And then I go through seasons where I just don't feel like dealing with it. I don't want to hear it, you know, because people are just, they're so rude these days online. Okay. Okay, I'm missing a lot of your comments here, so. Jacqueline writes, while you don't have to always have a debate, I don't think that we have to always avoid civil debate. I think that if we always shy away from debate, we lose our ability to have meaningful conversations. I completely agree. Diana says, one of the worst aspects of modern society is how socially acceptable it is to now lob extremely disgusting and inappropriate names at people with whom they disagree. Absolutely. I agree with that as well. I think that we're just, it's so, you know, I think the internet has done that, because so much of the negativity that I get online you know, it's just because it's the internet. And if these people met me at an event, they would never say the things that they say to me to my face. They just wouldn't do it. I'm going to put this computer on a pillow here. So I think that people feel a sense of comfort when they are behind a screen, and they just, you know, there's anonymity, and you know, they don't care. But so I can't. So I always show it to my husband, and he just shakes his head. And I'm thinking, can you believe this person said this to me? I get the craziest comments, so you would be surprised. Okay, let's see what they say here. Hello, Evelina from Lithuania. I'm missing, there's like a whole conversation here that I'm missing about bullying, and I don't know where the top of that conversation is. Okay, oh, Amanda says, my friend brought her 4-year-old to play with my 4-year-old. After my daughter asked her daughter if she could play toss with her, she started crying, and she's told my daughter, "You're a bully. This hurt." Who told your daughter that she was a bully? Was it the other child, or was it the parent? The next day, her sister told my daughter, "You are a bully, aren't you?" Okay. Yeah, if you are playing with people at the age, if your daughter's only 4 and you're finding that there's trouble there already, where there's name calling and stuff like that, just find new friends for her, honestly, because she does not need that drama and that label at the age of 4, right? Yes, Noella writes, I agree, Jennifer. People hide behind a keyboard and they feel that they can say things to people that they would never say to their face, right? I totally agree with that. Okay, I'm going to pull another question here. I don't know, this is from Instagram. She says, job networking etiquette while looking for a job, how to act at a social gathering where you don't know anybody. Okay, so have you ever been to a party where you don't know anyone and you're the only one there and you're not with anybody? It's awkward, but you know, you got to pull from my advice from Lessons from Madame Chic about being okay with silence and being okay with being alone. So I was worried when we moved out here, and you know, my daughters are in a private satellite program. And so we took off, we weren't there for the first 6 weeks because we went to Europe on that trip that we took. So we were coming into the school year 6 weeks late, and I was nervous because I thought, oh, all the other moms are going to be friends with each other and all the kids are going to be friends, and here we are coming in. But all you just have to do is just be friendly and open, and, you know, strike up a conversation with somebody. And if they don't reciprocate it, that's fine. What's the worst that can happen? They'll just look at you strange and walk away. That's probably the worst thing that can happen. So just be present and just be polite and happy and friendly and cheerful and just available to talk to people. It's easier said than done, I know, but yeah. Sherry said, good advice, Jennifer, find new friends. Yes, find new friends. You don't have to stay with the friends that you have. Therefore, and if you're having trouble already, no, that is not worth it. Okay. Oh, Catherine wrote this on Facebook, and a lot of people wanted to know what to do here. So she said, hi, Jennifer, I would love to get your opinion on an etiquette question I have pondered. My absolute favorite food is hamburger. I don't have one often, but when I do, I like to take off half of the bun. Should I then eat the burger with a knife and a fork, or is it all right to pick up the burger with my hands? It just doesn't taste the same when it's cut up, but somehow it just seems wrong to pick it up. It's a carbohydrate conundrum. Yes, in the low carb world, many of us do not like to eat hamburger buns. And you know what some people do is they wrap the bun in lettuce. That's what, if you go to In-N-Out and you order one without the bun, that's what they do. And I think if they wrap it up in lettuce, you can eat it. I personally wouldn't feel right holding the meat and eating that with my hands. So I would probably eat it with a knife and fork. What do you all say in the comment section, in the chat section? So I would say if you're taking off the bun of the burger and you're not wrapping it in something else, I would eat it with a knife and a fork. So that would just, you know, isn't there sauce on the burger too? So that's what I would do. A lot of people wanted to know the answer to that question. What do you think? Let me know in the chat section. Okay. Sarah says, what's the etiquette on correcting another adult's spelling, especially when the text will be seen by other people? If they have asked for your editing advice, then I would correct it. If it's a friend, and let's say they've posted something on Facebook and they spelled something wrong, you could just send them a quick note just saying FYI. You know, I don't think it's a big deal. I do that all the time where I have an error because when I write my blog posts, it's usually at midnight and I'm tired and I'm just writing it out. And so there are errors in my blog posts. And so people say to me, Jennifer, this is wrong, or they'll point out the errors to me. I don't mind that at all, especially because it's embarrassing when you leave it, right? Yeah, Sierra says most places will wrap the hamburger in lettuce if you ask, and I think that's okay. And then you can eat it like that, right? Because it's more pleasant to touch lettuce than it is the burger. Okay. All right, I'm going to take another question here, and we've already been doing this for almost an hour. I'm going to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the chat section. I'm sorry, I have not gotten to every question. I'm sorry about that, but I'll do more of these. Let me get one more from Instagram. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, Seaside Farms writes, I'm looking forward to this. I have a question about entertaining and food preferences and allergies. My family is vegan. Is there something we should notify ahead of time to the host of a dinner party? I hate feeling like we need special treatment, and these days there seem to be so many food issues. I don't like to draw attention to it. It's just our choice. How should we handle this in social situations? Okay, so if you are being invited to someone's home for a dinner party and they don't know that you are vegan or have, let's say you have a food allergy or something, you can politely let them know. I think absolutely. You can say, you can tell them that by the way, I just wanted to let you know that our family is vegan. And then I would offer to bring a dish. Can I bring a dish, a main course, a side dish, anything, and offer to bring something? That's what I would say. Most hosts will ask you, and if you're ever hosting a dinner party or any sort of party, say, do you have any food allergies or food preferences? So, but if the host doesn't ask you, I would definitely tell them and offer to bring something so that they don't have to come up with 2 main dishes, for example. And they might say, no, don't worry about it. I have it, and that's fine too. I remember when we were first married, I hosted a dinner party, and I was just totally gauche. And I only did one dish, and it was a curry, and it had carrots in it. And and that was it. I only had that dish, and I had a dessert. So I had the curry, the rice, and a dessert. And I thought, oh, this is great, right? So, so it turned out that the woman, the wife who was there visiting us, was allergic to carrots, and she couldn't eat the curry. So all she had was the rice. And then I think I put something else together for her quickly, but I said, oh my goodness, I should have asked her if she was allergic to anything, because that was easily omitted. Thank you to people who are doing the super chat. Yes. And I think other people are saying that too. Sherry says, always bring a dish to share that you can eat. Yes. Okay. Okay, and so also let me know what you think about that as well. But if you have special food allergies or things that you can't eat, then absolutely, I would definitely let them know. Okay, I'm just going to take a few more, and then I have to go because my daughter has her performance today. Okay. There's so many here. I'm sorry, I can't get to them. Let's see. Let me just find one I can respond to quickly. Yeah, everyone's saying refrain from correcting other people's spelling. So yeah, I think if it's a close friend that you could tell them, because they would probably appreciate that. But I see misspelled things all the time, and I just don't say anything. Jenny says, what is the etiquette when someone brings you an unexpected gift? It always feels awkward to me when I'm not sure if they want me to open it on the spot. I would just, if they bring you an unexpected gift, just receive it with Thanksgiving, and I would probably open it on the spot unless it's awkward. And that's just, it shouldn't be awkward. Just, it's fun, and, say thank you, and that's sweet. That's a nice thing. Everyone's talking about the shoes still. Yes, and so many cultures, they have people take their shoes off. That's absolutely fine. And we're talking about the cheeseburger, the burger salad. Okay. Okay, someone wrote, we are invited to a birthday party of a dear friend of ours, but we will not know anyone but her. That happens to me all the time, where I only know the host. It says, I don't want to monopolize her attention all night or make it seem like she has to keep me entertained. Yes, and I would say that, when you're going to a party with someone and there's a lot of people there, but they're the only ones say hi to them and socialize with them for a bit, but let them talk to their other guests. Don't monopolize their time, and just make new friends. And it goes back to that, awkwardness of having to make new friends at a party, but I think it's a good social skill to have. Okay. Sarah says, do you think you'll share what your garden is like and gardening tips? Yes, our garden, there's so many, it's so hard because gardening is such a hobby of mine and a pleasure. I love it. And so every time we garden, I just do it. And I'm thinking, oh, I can't break out my camera right now. It's just, I don't want to turn this into a video, but I will do a garden video because our garden is just producing so many things right now. And it's just the beginning of spring. So I will do a garden video at some point. Okay, Sarah says, I have a friend that avoids dairy. She doesn't have an allergy, but insists whenever we're with her that everyone eats dairy-free. I'm sick of altering how I eat when I'm with her, and I don't want to make her mad. Yes, if you have a food issue, whether it's something that you cannot eat or something you choose to not eat, you cannot expect other people to do that. So, vegans and vegetarians, for example, cannot expect the people that they're with to also be vegan and vegetarian. And I think that most people would agree with that. You can't, again, keep your own side of the street clean. You cannot impose that on other people. So if other people, this woman is dairy free, but other people aren't, that's it. It's just, it's different for everybody. You might find, let's say you're meeting with a friend and they don't eat a certain thing. So you might feel uncomfortable eating let's say they don't eat meat, and you might feel uncomfortable eating your big cheeseburger without the bun in front of them, for example. Then that's up to you, but you can't expect other people to adopt your food sensitivities. Okay, I am going to end the chat here. I had such a nice time with all of you. This has been an hour of chatting. This is so nice. This video is going to be Monday's video. So I will put together a blog post with it like I always do, and reformat it, and it'll be up for people who missed any of it. And this will be Monday's blog post. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed chatting with all of you. On Thursday of next week, I'm doing a big, huge jewelry giveaway. So I'm excited to be doing that. And so definitely come back and look. And I have some great videos that I've been planning for you, including a house tour. People have been asking for a house tour, and I am going to be giving you one. So, and the other thing I wanted to say before I close is I wanted to thank everyone who's been taking my online courses, and I wanted to read a few of the testimonials. So I have 2 courses right now, the 10-item wardrobe e-course and the debt-free course. And I'm getting such good feedback from both of them, and it's just really great. So I wanted to read you from Nora about the debt course. She said, this course was amazing. She said, I'm debt-free, but you've inspired me to save more, love my home life, be happy with what I already have, etc. Thank you, Jennifer. Everything you produce is such high quality and truly gives so much value to your audience. I'm looking forward to your next course. Thank you so much. And I wanted to read this one from Kathleen, who wrote, Jennifer, I finally purchased your course after following you for years. I'm surprised how much I enjoy it. Even though many points are not new concepts to me, it's still refreshing to hear from your perspective. And she wrote, I especially love when you say, I simply don't care what others think. And isn't that funny? And I feel, I talk about that a lot in the debt course. So much of financial situations where we're purchasing things, whether it be clothing or whatever, it's to, I don't know, please other people, right? To appear a certain way. So in the debt-free course, I say, you simply just must not care what other people think. And that's so much of this as well, right? When you are looking presentable always, when you are being poised, you just don't, it doesn't matter what the world is doing around you. It's what you're doing, what your convictions are. So I just wanted to close on that point. I will have all the links below for all of those if you want more of the Daily Connoisseur. And I just want to thank all of you for joining me. Thank you so much for being with me on this live chat. This was so fun. I will do more of these because I really enjoy it. If you have any requests for future live chat topics, maybe a parenting one, there's so many things we can talk about. We will definitely do it. All right, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time on the Daily Connoisseur. Bye, ladies. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.